High Commander Dohun stood on the bridge of the Eternal Shadow. The massive ship hung in the darkness of space like a black knife. Stars reflected on its smooth, dark surface. Dohun's four eyes blinked slowly as he looked at the main screen. "Show me this planet again," he ordered. The screen lit up with the image of a blue and green world. It looked small and weak compared to the worlds the cruel empire already ruled. Dohun had seen hundreds of planets fall to his forces. This one would be no different. Or so he thought. Intelligence Officer Ji-woo approached with a data pad in her clawed hand. She was smaller than Dohun, but her mind was sharp. The other officers moved out of her way as she walked toward the commander. "High Commander, I have finished the report on the dominant species of this world," she said. Her voice was calm, but Dohun noticed something unusual in her tone. "Tell me," he said. "They call themselves humans. They are not impressive physically. No natural armor. No claws. Weak muscles compared to our warriors. Poor night vision." Ji-woo paused, "But there is something strange about them." Dohun turned all four eyes toward her. "Strange how? They should not have survived this long." Ji-woo pulled up images on the main screen. Humans fighting. Humans building. Humans surviving in frozen wastelands and burning deserts. Their planet tried to kill them many times. Ice ages, massive volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts. Each time, they survived. Other species on their world died out. The humans adapted and grew stronger. Dohun watched the images with growing interest. Most species the cruel conquered had evolved in stable environments. They broke easily when faced with change or threat. They fight constantly among themselves. Ji-woo continued. They have had thousands of wars, yet they have not destroyed themselves. Instead, each conflict makes their weapons more deadly and their tactics more effective. Their technology, Dohun asked, primitive compared to ours. They have just begun to explore their own solar system. Their ships are slow and fragile. Their weapons would not penetrate our basic shields. Ji-woo hesitated again, but the speed of their progress is concerning. She showed a timeline on the screen. They went from simple flying machines to landing on their moon in less than 70 years. From basic computers to global information networks in 50 years. Their rate of adaptation is unlike anything we have seen. Dohun tapped his sharp fingers on the railing. This information was interesting, but not alarming. The cruel had crushed species far more advanced than these humans. "What do you suggest, Intelligence Officer?" Ji-woo straightened her posture. "I believe we should study them longer before deciding. There is something about their psychology that our models cannot predict. They react to threats differently than other species." Dohun considered this. The cruel empire had grown powerful because it understood its enemies. Knowledge before action. That was the way. "Very well," he said finally. "We will send observer ships. No contact yet. I want to see these humans with my own eyes before I decide whether to bring them into the empire or remove them completely." Ji-woo bowed and left to prepare the mission. As she walked away, Dohun turned back to the image of Earth on the screen. Such a small, blue world. So isolated. So unaware of what was coming. "You have lived alone in the darkness for a long time, humans," he said quietly to the image. "Soon you will learn there are monsters in the void, and we have been watching you." On the screen, Earth continued its peaceful spin around its sun, blissfully unaware that the most feared predators in the galaxy had just set their eyes upon it. Captain Hangil's scout ship, Silent Hunter, moved quietly through Earth's solar system. For 3 weeks, they had watched the blue planet from a safe distance. Their ship was hidden by the best cloaking technology in the cruel empire. No human device could see them, or so they thought. "Captain, there is a problem," said Lieutenant Tosic, his voice tight with worry. "Our cloaking system is failing." Hangil rushed to the control panel. The readings made no sense. "What happened?" "A solar flare, sir. Stronger than we expected. It damaged our cloaking field." Ta-6's hands moved quickly over the controls. I cannot fix it quickly. Han-Gil looked at the main screen. They were too close to Earth, much too close. Without the cloak, human detection systems would see them soon. Prepare for emergency jump, Han-Gil ordered. We must. Sir, called the sensor officer. Human ships approaching. 5 of them. Small but fast. Han-Gil felt a cold feeling in his stomach. This was not how first contact was supposed to happen. The humans were not ready. The Krull were not ready. They are hailing us, said the communications officer. The bridge went silent. Everyone turned to Han-Gil. This was a moment that would change history. The captain took a deep breath. Show me, he ordered. The screen flickered. A human face appeared. The alien looked strange to Krull eyes. Flat face, small eyes, no visible fangs or natural armor. Yet there was something in those eyes that made Han-Gil stand straighter. Unknown vessel, the human said in its language, which the ship's computer translated. This is Ambassador Kim Sung-ho of Earth. We detected your presence. We come in peace and offer communication. Han-Gil looked at his crew. They seemed shocked. Most species, when first seeing the fearsome Krull, showed terror or aggression. This human looked calm, interested even. I am Captain Han-Gil of the Krull Empire scout vessel Silent Hunter, he replied carefully. Our presence here was not meant to be known to you yet. The human smiled. It was a strange expression to the Krull. Sometimes the universe has its own plans, Captain. Would you accept our invitation to talk? We have prepared a neutral meeting place on our space station. Lieutenant Ta-6 leaned close to Han-Gil. Sir, this could be a trap, he whispered. If they wanted to attack, they would have tried already. Han-Gil answered quietly. Then to the human. I will meet with you, Ambassador Kim. But I must inform my command first. Of course, the human replied. We will wait. When the communication ended, the bridge erupted with voices. Captain, we cannot meet them. High Command has not authorized this. Their technology should not have detected us. Something is wrong. Han-Gil raised his hand for silence. We have no choice now. Contact High Command immediately. Hours later, Han-Gil sat across from Ambassador Kim in a simple room on the human space station. 2 guards stood behind each leader. Your ships are impressive, said Kim. We have been watching the stars for signs of other intelligent life for decades. We are pleased to find we are not alone. Han-Gil studied the human carefully. Most species fear the unknown. You seem eager. Kim smiled again. Humans are curious by nature, Captain. We seek knowledge. And yes, some of us are afraid. But we have learned that fear must not stop progress. Han-Gil felt uneasy. This was not going as expected. The humans should be begging for mercy or preparing for war. Instead, they offered conversation. Tell me about your people, said Kim. We have much to learn from each other. As Han-Gil began to speak, he wondered if the humans truly understood what contact with the Krull Empire usually meant for a species. Somehow, he suspected these strange creatures might not react like any species they had encountered before. And that thought worried him more than he could explain. High Commander Du-hun slammed his fist on the table. The metal dented under his strength. You spoke with them. He growled at the screen showing Captain Han-Gil's face. You were not supposed to make contact. We had no choice, High Commander, Han-Gil replied. His voice was steady despite Du-hun's anger. Our cloak failed. They saw us. But there is something important you should know about these humans. I do not care what you think about these primitive creatures. Du-hun cut him off. Your mission was to observe only. Now we must change our plans. Intelligence Officer Ji-woo stood quietly in the corner of the command room. She had read Han-Gil's full report. Unlike Du-hun, she found the humans' reaction very interesting, very concerning. High Commander, she said, stepping forward. Captain Han-Gil's report suggests the humans are not reacting with the fear we expected. Perhaps we should. They are not afraid because they do not understand what we are, Du-hun said. He turned to Admiral Yujin, who stood at attention nearby. Admiral, prepare your battle group. We must show these humans the power of the cruel empire. Then they will understand fear. Admiral Yujin, tall and scared from many battles, nodded. What are your orders, High Commander? Take 3 warships to their system. Destroy their empty space station as a warning. Show them our weapons, then demand their surrender. Du-hun's 4 eyes narrowed. That is how we have always done it. That is how we will do it now. Je-woo wanted to object. The data suggested humans might not respond like other species, but she knew Du-hun would not listen. He had conquered 32 worlds using these same tactics. He saw no reason to change. 3 days later, Admiral Yujin's ships appeared near Earth. Without warning, they fired on an uninhabited human space station. The station exploded in a ball of fire. Then Yujin sent a message to Earth, demanding that humans accept cruel rule or face destruction. Yujin expected panic, surrender, begging for mercy. Instead, something else happened. Admiral, said her communications officer, the humans are. They are all coming together. What do you mean? Yujin asked. Their nations. They were separate. Now they unite. They have formed an emergency council. The officer looked up from his screen, confused. They are not fighting each other for safety. They are joining forces. Yujin did not understand. In her experience, when a planet faced cruel power, its people turned against each other in fear. Leaders betrayed their people to save themselves. Nations fought over who would surrender first. But the humans were different. Back on the Eternal Shadow, Ji-woo analyzed the intercepted human communications. What she found disturbed her deeply. High Commander, she reported. The humans have united under a war council led by someone called General Park Min-soo. They are sharing military resources, preparing defenses, and... She paused. And what? Du-hun demanded. They are angry, not afraid. Ji-woo showed him the human news broadcasts. Our attack has not broken their will. It has strengthened it. Du-hun watched the screen. A human leader was speaking to a large crowd. The human's voice was calm, but filled with determination. We will not bow to threats, the human said. Earth has faced many challenges. We have survived ice ages, plagues, and our own wars. We will survive this too, together. The crowd cheered, not the reaction of a beaten people. They do not understand who they face, Du-hun said, but his voice held a hint of doubt now. Admiral Yujin will teach them. Je-woo was not so sure. As she studied more human history, she found something troubling. Humans often became most dangerous when threatened, most unified when attacked, most determined when facing destruction. The cruel had just threatened, attacked, and promised destruction. And the humans were not cowering. They were preparing to fight back. Admiral Yujin stood proudly on her command ship. Her small fleet moved toward Earth to set up a blockade. 3 large, cruel warships against a planet of primitives. It should be easy. The humans have some orbital defenses, her second-in-command reported. Small weapons platforms. Nothing that can harm our ships. Yujin nodded. Move into position. Cut off their access to their moon base. Let them feel trapped. The cruel ships spread out, their massive engines glowing against the blackness of space. Yujin watched Earth grow larger on her view screen. Such a pretty blue world. Soon it would belong to the Empire. Then something strange happened. Admiral, called the sensor officer. Human ships approaching. Many of them. From behind the moon. Yujin frowned. How many? 50 small vessels. They were hiding from our sensors. Yujin laughed. 50 tiny human ships against 3 cruel warships. It was not even a fight. Let them come, she said. Their bravery is pointless. But as the human ships drew closer, they did not move as expected. They did not form a line of attack. Instead, they broke into small groups. Some flew fast, some flew slow. They moved in strange patterns. Their formation makes no sense, Yujin said, confused. What are they doing? Then the first group of human ships fired their weapons. The shots were weak against Cruel shields, but they all hit the same spot on the first Cruel ship, again and again, until shield failure on Section 6, shouted the tactical officer. Impossible. No primitive weapons should be able to. More human ships fired, not at random. Each group targeted specific points on the Cruel ships, points where the shields connected, where the power systems were weakest. How do they know where to hit us? Yujin demanded. No one knows the weak points in our shield design. Intelligence Officer Ji-woo would have known the answer. During the brief meeting with Captain Hangil, the humans had scanned the Cruel ship. They had studied its design, found its weaknesses, all while smiling and talking about peace. A large human vessel, bigger than the others, suddenly accelerated toward Yujin's flagship. They mean to crash into us. Yujin shouted, "Fire all weapons." The Cruel guns blazed. The human ship took heavy damage, but didn't slow down. It crashed into the side of Yujin's ship, tearing a hole in the hull. Emergency doors slammed shut, stopping the air from escaping. Then the real attack began. From the crashed human ship came soldiers in armored suits. They poured into the Cruel vessel, led by a tall human called Commander Lee Jun. "Move forward," Lee ordered his troops. "Take the bridge." The Cruel warriors were stronger than humans. Their skin was tougher. Their claws were sharp. But the humans fought with strange determination. When a Cruel warrior wounded a human, the human kept fighting. When humans were outnumbered, they used the ship itself as a weapon, cutting power lines and causing explosions. Yujin grabbed her weapons as humans broke onto the bridge. She killed 3 with quick shots. But there were too many. "Retreat," she ordered her crew. "Get to the escape pods." As Yujin ran through her damaged ship, she realized a terrible truth. The humans had planned this. They had studied Cruel tactics and found a counter for each one. They were not fighting like a primitive species. They were fighting like predators who had studied their prey. In space, half the Cruel fleet was disabled. Human ships surrounded the Cruel vessels, capturing them. From her escape pod, Yujin watched her flagship fall to the humans. She had never lost a battle before, never retreated, never failed. Until today. The pod's communication system crackled. "High Commander," she said, her voice heavy with shame. "The humans, they are not what we thought." The mood on the Eternal Shadow was dark. High Commander Do-hun had never faced defeat before. He paced the command room, his claws clicking against the metal floor. "Prepare all ships," he ordered. "We will send our full invasion force. We will crush these humans completely." Diplomat Su-young stood quietly near the door. She rarely spoke at military meetings. Her job was to handle conquered species after the fighting ended. But today, she stepped forward. "High Commander," she said, her voice soft but clear. "Perhaps there is another way." Do-hun turned all 4 eyes toward her. "What other way?" "They attacked our ships. They captured our warriors. They must be punished." "They responded to our aggression," Su-young replied. "We destroyed their station first." Ji-woo, the intelligence officer, nodded in agreement. Diplomat Su-young is right. The humans are not acting like typical prey species. Our usual methods may not work here. Do-hun growled. "What do you suggest?" "Let me meet with them," Su-young said. "Learn more about them. While I talk, you can prepare your forces. We lose nothing by waiting a few days." Do-hun did not like the idea, but his defeat had made him cautious. "Very well. You have 3 days." 2 days later, Diplomat Su-young sat across from Earth's coalition leaders in a neutral meeting place, a station orbiting Mars. The human delegation was led by Chief Strategist Shin Ha, a small woman with sharp eyes and a quick mind. We appreciate this chance to talk, Shin said, but we must be clear. Earth will not surrender to the cruel empire. Su Yung tilted her head. You have seen our power. Your technology is far behind ours. In the end, you cannot win. Shin smiled. It was not a happy smile. Maybe not, but we can make you lose. That makes no sense, Su Yung said. Let me explain something about humans, Shin replied. We have a concept you might not understand. We call it spite. Su Young's translator struggled with the word. Spite. Yes, it means we will accept harm to ourselves if it means our enemy also suffers. Shin leaned forward. If the cruel empire attacks Earth with all its forces, you might win. You might kill many humans, but we will make sure the cost is so high that your victory feels like defeat. Su Yung studied the human carefully. In all her years dealing with conquered species, she had never heard such a thing. Most species surrendered when faced with overwhelming force. It was logical. It saved lives. But humans, they thought differently. You would sacrifice your people just to hurt us, she asked. We would sacrifice to remain free, Shin corrected. And history shows that humans fight hardest when our backs are against the wall. The more you push us, the harder we push back. As they continued talking, Su Yung learned more about human history, how they had fought wars where millions died rather than accept rule by others, how they remembered ancient wrongs for centuries, how they wrote stories celebrating those who fought hopeless battles. When the meeting ended, Su Yung returned to the eternal shadow, troubled by what she had learned. Well, Du Hun demanded. Did they agree to surrender? No, High Commander, and I believe attacking them directly would be a mistake. She explained what she had learned about human psychology. Nonsense, Du Hun said. All species fear pain and death. We will increase both until they submit. High Commander, Ji Wu interrupted. Our studies of captured human data support diplomat Su Young's concerns. Humans have a saying. If I'm going down, I'm taking you with me. They may fight to the last human rather than surrender. Du Hun dismissed their warnings. Prepare the invasion fleet. We will show these humans what real fear is. As Su Yung left the room, she wondered if the mighty cruel empire had finally met a species it could not simply terrify into submission. The sky over Earth filled with cruel warships. 200 massive vessels moved into position around the blue planet. From his command seat on the super dreadnought Inevitable Dominion, High Commander Du Hun watched with satisfaction. Begin the attack, he ordered. Destroy their orbital defenses first. The cruel ships fired. Earth's space stations and satellites exploded one by one. The humans fought back with their ships, but they were too few and too small to stop the cruel fleet. Their space defenses are almost gone, reported the tactical officer. Shall we target their cities next? Yes, said Du Hun. Show them the price of defiance. The first cruel ships entered Earth's atmosphere. They moved toward the largest human cities, weapons ready. But as they approached, something strange happened. Commander, called the sensor officer. The cities, they're empty. What? Du Hun leaned forward. Scan again. No mistake, sir. The humans have evacuated their major cities. Du Hun frowned. This was not normal. Usually, planetary populations huddled in their cities, hoping for protection from their governments. On Earth, General Park Min-soo watched from an underground command center as the cruel ships approached the empty city of New York. They took the bait, he said to his officers. Activate the trap. As the cruel ships hovered over the city, thousands of hidden weapons opened fire from buildings, sewers, and underground bunkers. The shots were not aimed randomly. They targeted the same spots on each ship, the weak points in cruel shields that humans had learned from the captured vessels. 3 cruel ships crashed in flames. The others retreated, confused by the attack. Similar traps waited in every major city. The humans had turned their own cities into giant ambush sites. On the Inevitable Dominion, Du-hun received reports of losses across the planet. The humans knew we would target their cities, said Jiwoo. They prepared for it. Do-hun slammed his fist down. Land the ground forces, find their leaders, crush their armies. Krull dropships landed troops across Earth. The alien warriors were strong and well-armed, but the humans did not fight like a normal army. They attacked in small groups. They struck quickly and disappeared. They used the land they knew well against invaders who didn't. Science officer Dad Jung rushed onto the bridge. "Hi, Commander. Our communications are being attacked." "What do you mean?" Du-hun demanded. "The humans have infected our networks with computer viruses. They studied the systems on the ships they captured. Now they're using that knowledge against us." At the same time, Engineer Choi Mena worked deep inside a hidden Earth lab. Around her were pieces of Krull technology from the captured ships. "The shield modulation is the key," she told her team. "Their weapons all use the same frequency. If we adjust our weapons to match." She tested her theory on a piece of Krull armor. The modified human weapon cut through it like it was paper. "Send this information to all resistance groups," she ordered, "and prepare for mass production." 2 weeks later, Du-hun's invasion was in trouble. His ground forces reported attacks with new weapons that could penetrate Krull armor. His ships struggled with failing systems as human viruses spread through their networks. "This was supposed to be an easy conquest," he raged. "How can primitives fight us so effectively?" Jae-woo studied the latest reports. "They are not fighting like primitives, Commander. They are fighting like survivors. This is why their species has endured so many challenges on their world. They adapt. They learn. They never give up." Do-hun looked at the map of Earth, where red dots showed Krull losses growing by the day. "Then we will have to try something more extreme," he said darkly. "Prepare the planet-killer weapons." 6 months had passed since the Krull invasion began. What should have been a quick victory had turned into a long, difficult fight. The Krull still controlled space around Earth, but they could not control the planet itself. In an underground base beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Park Min-soo met with Earth's military leaders. Maps showed Krull positions around the world. There were many red markers, but not as many as before. "The time has come," said General Park. "We have studied their tactics. We have adapted their technology. Now we take the fight to them." For months, humans had been building ships in secret facilities on Earth and on the far side of the moon. These vessels used both human ingenuity and captured Krull technology. They were not as large as Krull warships, but they were fast and hard to detect. Admiral Yoon Jin-ho, commander of Earth's new space fleet, stood up. "My ships are ready. We will attack their supply lines between Earth and their staging area near Jupiter. And my ground forces will target their landing zones," added General Park. "We hit them from space and land at the same time." On the Eternal Shadow, Intelligence Officer Jiwoo worked late into the night. Something troubled her deeply. She had studied humans for months now. She understood them better than any other Krull, and what she knew frightened her. "They will not stop," she whispered to herself. "Even if we use the planet killers, the survivors will hunt us across the stars. They will never forget, never forgive." She made her decision. Using her security clearance, Jiwoo copied the plans for the Krull superweapon onto a small data device. Then she took a small ship and flew toward Earth. Human patrol ships surrounded her vessel. Through the communication system, she spoke quickly. "I come with information. Your planet is in danger, greater danger than you know." They took her to a secure facility where Chief Strategist Shin Hag questioned her. "Why should we trust you?" Shin asked. Jiwoo placed the data device on the table. "Because I have seen your species' strength, and I have seen my commander's rage. He plans to use this weapon to destroy your world completely." Shin studied the plans. Her face grew pale. "This could kill billions." "Yes," said Jiwoo, "and it would be a mistake. My people have never faced a species like yours. We don't understand that destroying your planet would not end the threat. The survivors would never stop hunting us." Meanwhile, Admiral Yoon's fleet launched its attack. 100 human ships appeared suddenly near Jupiter, striking at Krull supply vessels. The Krull were caught by surprise. Their ships were larger and stronger, but the human vessels moved in unpredictable patterns, attacking then disappearing into the darkness of space. At the same time, General Park's forces struck at Krull bases on Earth. Using weapons designed by engineer Choi Mina, they could now fight Krull warriors directly. The battles were fierce, but for the first time, the humans pushed the Krull back. On the inevitable Dominion, High Commander Do-hun received reports of attacks from all directions. "Impossible," he roared. "How can they attack in space? Their ships were destroyed." "They built new ones," said an officer, "using our technology." Do-hun's rage was cold and deadly. "Prepare the superweapon. If we cannot have this world, no one will." Back on the Eternal Shadow, the unthinkable happened. A war council was called. In the 1,000-year history of the Krull Empire, this had never happened before. The Empire did not debate wars. It simply won them. But Earth was different. Earth was changing everything. The oldest Krull commander spoke first. "We face something new, something that does not break when pushed. The humans bend, adapt, and push back harder." Do-hun's voice came through the communication system. "We will use the planet killer. End this discussion." The War Council fell silent. The fate of Earth hung in the balance. The War Council's debate ended without agreement. Half the Krull commanders believed using the planet killer would be a mistake. The other half supported Do-hun. In the end, Do-hun's rank gave him the final decision. "The superweapon will launch in 6 hours," he announced from the inevitable Dominion. "Earth will be destroyed as an example to any who resist the Krull Empire." On Earth, Ji-woo worked frantically with human scientists. They studied the superweapon plans she had brought. "It uses a special kind of energy," she explained. "It will break apart your planet's core. Nothing will survive." Chief Strategist Shin looked grim. "Can we stop it?" "Not easily," said Ji-woo. "But it has one weakness. The weapon must get close to Earth before firing. If we can destroy it before it reaches firing position." Shin called an emergency meeting. Earth's leaders gathered quickly. "We need volunteers for a mission," she said. "A suicide mission." Captain Beck's son stood up immediately. "I will go." Beck was an older pilot who had lost his wife in the first days of the invasion. His daughter, young Mai, served as an engineer on one of Earth's new ships. "Father, no," young Mai protested. "Someone must do this," he said quietly. "I have lived my life. You must live to build what comes after." 20 pilots volunteered to join Captain Beck. They would fly ships loaded with explosives directly into the superweapon. Most would die creating a distraction. Bach would deliver the final blow. As the human ships prepared, diplomat Su Young and a group of like-minded Krull made their move. They could not let Do-hun destroy an entire world. It went against everything they had learned from studying the humans. "We must stop the commander," Su Young told her allies. "This weapon will not end the human threat. It will only spread it. The humans living on their moon and Mars will never stop fighting us." Together, they began to seize control of key systems on the Eternal Shadow. In space, the superweapon moved toward Earth. It looked like a giant spear, dark and terrible against the stars. Krull ships protected it on all sides. Captain Beck's small fleet approached. They were detected immediately. "Attention human vessels," came the Krull warning. "Turn back or be destroyed." Beck opened a channel that all ships, human and Krull, could hear. "We know what your weapon will do," he said. "We know we cannot escape. But we choose to face death on our feet, not on our knees." Then he said words that many Krull would remember forever. "We die so others may live." The human ships charge. Cruel weapons fired. One by one, the human vessels exploded, but each explosion created confusion. Each sacrifice bought time, and each death brought Captain Bake closer to his target. On the inevitable Dominion, Du-hun watched with growing anger as the human ships threw themselves at his defenses. "Fools," he said, "they cannot stop us." Then alarms sounded throughout his ship. "Commander," shouted an officer, "we are being boarded. Human forces led by Li Jun have entered the ship." At the same time, another officer reported, "The Eternal Shadow is firing on our ships. Diplomat Su Young has taken control. She claims you are unfit to command." Do-hun roared in fury. Enemies outside, traitors within. And still the humans kept fighting. In space, Captain Bak's ship was the last one left. It was damaged badly. He would not reach the superweapon. "Young me," he said over his communication system. "I am sorry." "No, father," came his daughter's voice. "You have shown us the way." From behind the moon came a new ship, larger than the others, moving faster. Engineer Choi Mena had built it in secret, using everything she had learned from cruel technology. Bake smiled as he saw it streak past him toward the superweapon. On the inevitable Dominion, Du-hun saw his plans falling apart. He reached for the emergency controls. "If I cannot win," he growled, "no one will." His clawed hand moved toward the self-destruct button. Du-hun's finger hovered over the self-destruct button. One press, and the inevitable Dominion would explode, taking the boarding humans with it. His eyes narrowed with hate. But before he could press it, the door to the command room burst open. Commander Li Jun led a team of human soldiers inside. Behind them came strategist Shin Ha. "It's over, Commander," said Li, his weapon aimed at Du-hun. Do-hun laughed. "Nothing is over. I can still destroy this ship. Kill us all." "You could," agreed Shin. "But what would that prove? That the mighty Cruel would rather die than adapt." Her words hit Du-hun like a physical blow. Adapt. It was what the humans did, not the Cruel. The Cruel conquered. The Cruel ruled. They did not adapt. Before Do-hun could respond, Engineer Choi Mina's voice came through the communication system. "The superweapon is disabled," she reported. "Captain Bak's sacrifice gave us the time we needed." In space, the huge planet killer drifted powerless. Young Mei's ship had hit it with a special energy pulse designed by Choi Mina. The weapon that would have destroyed Earth was now just a dead piece of metal. Do-hun slumped in his command chair. For the first time in his long life, he had failed completely. "What happens now?" he asked. "Will you destroy our ships? Kill our warriors? Take revenge?" Shin stepped forward. "No, that is not our way." "You've been fighting us for months," Du-hun said, confused. "We fought because you attacked us," Shin explained. "We do not want war. We never did. We wanted to learn, to grow, to explore." 3 months later, representatives from Earth and the Cruel Empire met on the neutral ground of Mars. Diplomat Su Young led the Cruel delegation. Ambassador Kim Sung-ho represented Earth. Between them, they created a new agreement, the Galactic Cooperation Treaty. It established rules for how species would interact with each other. No more conquering, no more forcing others to submit. Instead, trade, knowledge sharing, and mutual respect. "This is not how the Cruel Empire has operated for 1,000 years, said a Cruel official. "Then it is time for the Cruel to adapt," replied Su Young, "as the humans do." Do-hun, now a prisoner, watched the treaty signing from his cell. He still did not understand how his perfect plan had failed so completely. Jae-woo visited him one last time. "I studied the humans for months," she told him. "Their greatest strength is not their weapons or their determination, though both are formidable. Their greatest strength is their ability to turn enemies into allies." She gestured to the screen showing Cruel and human representatives working together. "No species in the galaxy does this like they do. They forgive. They include. They transform conflict into cooperation. Do-hun turned away. It will not last. I think it will, said Jiwoo. Because it benefits both sides. The humans get our technology. We get their creativity. Together, we will be stronger than either could be alone. 1 year after the war ended, a new ship prepared for its first mission. The Reconciliation was the first vessel built jointly by humans and Krul. It was commanded by Captain Hangil and Captain Young Mi-baek. Where to first, captains? Asked the navigation officer. Hangil looked at Young Mi. Your father once told me humans had always looked to the stars with hope. Let's find something new out there. Something neither humans nor Krul have seen before. Young Mi nodded. Set course for the unexplored regions beyond Krul space. We go together. As the Reconciliation moved away from Earth, Jiwoo completed her final report on humanity. The last lines read, "The Krul Empire met humanity and regretted it instantly. Not because humans destroyed us, but because they changed us forever. In doing so, they made us better than we were. Perhaps that is the true measure of an advanced species, not their weapons or ships, but their ability to improve those around them." The ship vanished into the stars, carrying the future with it.